Josh Holley is standing up for we the people. I am so happy to finally see a GOP politician grow a backbone. And that's what Josh Holley has done. He is showing that he has the cojones to do what he needs to do for we the people. And I love it. Gotta tell you right now, Josh Holley, who is a Republican senator from Missouri, is my favorite politician. I cannot lie to you. This man has impressed me for the last 2 months in terms of his ability to not only stand up for election integrity, but also to reach across the aisle, because realistically, that's what you have to do in order to get stuff done in Washington, and to work with somebody that is of complete different opposite ideology to push for the right thing, right? In terms of increasing the stimulus check amount, which he's currently still fighting for right now. Josh Holley is fighting for. He was one of the first people on board with that. He was one of the first people fighting for election integrity, right? He also has been in the fight against big tech. This man has been on the right side of every single issue, in my opinion, for a long, long time. And personally, he's at the top of my power rankings right now. And I think that he's an example of a politician that I would like to see more in the GOP and Republicans be like. Josh Holley. He's a freshman. Now, Josh Holley has also taken another step in the fight for election integrity, as he has said that he's going to come out and object to the electoral college vote on January 6th, which is going to give us what we need: a representative and a senator to at the very least have a floor debate. So this is big news. Before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. Let's get it. Let's take a look at Josh Holley's tweet. He basically broke the internet and made the liberals cry, because he came out and said that he will be objecting to the electoral college votes. And let's just take a look at his statement here. Following both the 2004 and 2016 elections, Democrats in Congress objected during the certification of electoral votes in order to raise concerns about election integrity. This is 100% true. A lot of people don't know this, but there were two congressmen, one from California, I think Barbara Boxer, and another one from Ohio, Stephanie Tube Jones, in 2005. They tried to object to George Bush being reelected over John Kerry. They tried to do that. That was the last time I think there was an actual debate about it in terms of challenging the electoral votes. Then in 2016, the Democrats tried to object to President Trump election, right? And the media doesn't tell you that. They don't tell you that. The only reason there wasn't a debate on it is because there wasn't a senator to sign up, but there was definitely a representative that tried. They were praised by Democratic leadership and the media when they did it, which is probably also true, and they were entitled to do so. But now those of us concerned about the integrity of this election are entitled to do the same. Quote, I cannot vote to certify the electoral college results on January 6th without raising the fact that some states, particularly Pennsylvania, failed to follow their own state election laws. Again, that's another fact, right? The argument is that they went around the legislative system, which is what they're supposed to do in order to change their own election laws and to basically allow for more mail-in votes, even though that was not in line with how they're supposed to constitutionally go about changing state election laws. And I cannot vote to certify without pointing out the unprecedented effort of mega corporations, including Facebook and Twitter, to interfere in this election in the support of Joe Biden. This is a big one, because to me, this is the undisputed part of what went on this election that I feel definitely, at the very least, gave Joe Biden an unfair advantage over President Trump, in my opinion. Right? What the role of big tech and mega corporations in launching a full-on ad campaign and disinformation campaign against President Trump and also supporting Joe Biden, right? We see that what happened with, the whole protest throughout, the summer, George Floyd protest. We saw it with the Hunter Biden story. We saw it with them pushing the Russian disinformation for like forever. The media played a big role in this, and that's something I think is a solid, concrete rebuttal to the integrity of this election. At the very least, Congress should investigate allegations of voter fraud and adopt measures to secure integrity of our elections. But Congress has so far failed to act. For these reasons, I will follow the same practice Democrat members of Congress have in years past and object during the certification process on January 6th to raise these critical issues. And guys, you know how you're on the right side of history? When you even have Walmart attacking you. Walmart came out and responded to Josh Holley and said, go ahead, get your 2-hour debate, hashtag sore loser. Walmart, guys, that tells you a lot of these companies are just liberals. Now, Josh Holley clapped back, of course, like a G. He said, thanks, Walmart, for your insulting condescension. Now that you've insulted 75 million Americans, will you at least apologize for using slave labor? Calling them out, Josh. You get them. And then he also said,
what do you get if you take the world's brightest young minds and stuff them into a virtual shed? This is Pitch the Future.
Said, or maybe you like to apologize for the pathetic wages you pay your workers as you drive mom and pop stores out of business. That's also true. Man, I'm telling you, man, this is how upset the liberals get. The liberals get so mad and so pissed off when somebody's standing up for what's right. If anything, Walmart coming out against this, Walmart guys, this confirms Josh Holley's doing the right thing. He must be on track. He must be doing something right. Now, there's also a really cool video of Josh Holley going ham in the Senate regarding the integrity of our election. Take a listen.
I just want to say how important it is that we're having today's hearing. Let me just give you an example why. Yesterday, I'm from the state of Missouri. Yesterday, I was talking with some of the constituents back at home, group of about 30 people. Every single one of them told me that they felt they had been disenfranchised, that their votes didn't matter, that the election had been rigged. These are normal, reasonable people. These are not crazy people. These are reasonable people, and who, by the way, have been involved in politics. They've won, they've lost, they've seen it all. These are normal folks living normal lives who firmly believe that they have been disenfranchised. And to listen to the mainstream press and quite a few voices in this building tell them after 4 years of nonstop Russia hoax, it was a hoax. It was based on, the whole Russian nonsense was based on, we now know, lies from a Russian spy. The Steele dossier was based on a Russian spy. After 4 years of that, being told that the last election was fake and that Donald Trump wasn't really elected and that Russia intervened, after 4 years of that, now these same people are told, you just sit down and shut up. If you have any concerns about election integrity, you're a nutcase. You should shut up. Well, I tell you what, 74 million Americans are not going to shut up, and telling them that their views don't matter and that their concerns don't matter and they should just be quiet is not a recipe for success in this country. It's not a recipe for the unity that I hear now the other side is suddenly so interested in after years of trying to delegitimize President Donald Trump. So suffice it to say, I'm not too keen on lectures about how Missourians and others who voted for President Trump and now have some concerns about fraud, about integrity, about compliance with the law should just be quiet, and that they are somehow not patriotic if they raise these questions. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable.
Let's put safeguards in place, but one of them is let's eliminate practices that are so prone to fraud and abuse.
And I think that's just the very beginning of what we should do. We should also make sure that poll watchers from both parties can be present at all times, that there are eyes on ballots, cameras on ballots at all times, that there's signature verification requirements that are mandatory, that there's mandatory reporting requirements about where we are in the count, where the states are, so the states just can't go dark for days at a time. All of this stuff ought to be common sense. There is no reason we should just shrug our shoulders and say, well, fraud happens all the time, no big deal.
James Dyson has reinvented the vacuum. Again. Big, heavy motors are replaced by this powerful hyperdymium motor.
It is a big deal. It's a very big deal. And for millions and millions of Americans in this election, it's a very, very big deal indeed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so Josh Holley is a patriot in my book, guys. I mean, I've been watching him for a while, and I've been very impressed with some of the things that he's done, some of the things he said. He just seems like somebody that has integrity. He seems like somebody that understands the base. He understands the modern day conservative and the values that we have and kind of the direction we want to see this country go in. And I'm really happy that he has come out and said that he's going to object on January 6th and at least force a debate on the House floor. Now, again, where that goes after that, nobody really knows in terms of where that's going to go. I mean, they have to get the House on board as well, too, which is Democrat led, which means that there's a slim chance that the Democrats are going to get on board with it. But who knows? At least they will force a debate, right? At least it will be taken serious amount of politicians. They will have to have a serious conversation about it, which will be great TV at the very least. But so let's talk more about the senators objecting. Right now, we have about 5 or 6 representatives led by Mo Brooks who said they're going to object. Josh Holley, now a senator, says he's going to object, so that means that they're going to force a floor debate. And that's also going to force a vote that Mitch McConnell did not want, right? The scenario that Mitch McConnell specifically told his peers that he did not want looks like it's going to happen, right? A lot of things are not falling into place for Mitch right now. He's kind of getting a lot of heat, but, again, guys, is what I told you guys about Mitch McConnell. I would not be surprised if Mitch found a way out of this. And I think the way out of this is that I think that knowing that you need the House on board, knowing that Democrats are probably never going to get on board with this, you really have more to lose by not objecting than you do to go ahead and just object at this point. I don't see what the GOP has to lose by coming out and objecting and not voting in favor of certifying the electoral votes. I really don't see what they have to lose at this point. And I think it's something that they should at least attempt to do, because if they're divided on it, what's going to happen is that it's going to further paint the picture of the GOP not being together, and that there's some politicians that are with Trump and some that are not with Trump. And right now, if you're not with Trump, you're at risk of being primary. You're at risk of losing your job if you're not on board with the president. Okay?
There is one food you should always eat if you want to live to age 120. I discovered this.
So we will see what they come up with and what happens. Now, it's unclear whether or not they're going to actually vote against certifying the election. It's one thing to object. There's another thing to actually vote against it. But at the very least, we're going to get a debate. And that debate is going to be fireworks, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.